AOSP, Brookline, Springfield. It's time for the starting lineup with Scott Purdy, Ed Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One. Always the sure bet.
And we are delighted to have you with us on the starting lineup, and welcome back. I'm Ned Reynolds, along with
Dwight
and
Art Haynes.
There we go. Now we've got the trio here, and our special guest is with us. But first of all, we'll tell you that the starting lineup is brought to you by Play It Again Sports in the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield and Fremont Springfield, Citizens Bank of Rogersville, 2 locales, one adjacent to Highland Springs and the other in Rogersville itself, Swing Right Golf on South Campbell, a little bit north of Nixa, and Marshfield Chevrolet at the I-44 exit. And then a couple of left turns here on the outer road, and you will be there at Marshfield Chevrolet. Welcoming our special guest to the studio. This is a gentleman who visits with us every year at this time because he is the regional bracketologist, a guru of all these matchups. This is Shawn Gallagher, and Shawn, thank you very much for taking time to be with us.
No problem, Ned. Love doing it.
All right, Shawn, you're taking away. We'll give you a free plug here from at least your main occupation, which is not bracketology.
I'm the owner advisor at Pycheck and Associates.
There you go, and you're able to. Well, since you're the owner, you can do whatever the heck.
Yeah,
you
it's
want.
a lot easier to get off work now that I'm the owner.
Say hello to Art Haynes, too.
Hey, what's going on, Art?
Hey, Shawn.
Art, have you had the opportunity to have Shawn on the air with you?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we've done it before.
There you go. Now, just a brief encounter or two. All righty, you have your 4 top teams here. Number one, are you in agreement with all the committee and so forth as far as the top teams are concerned?
Yeah, I think they actually did a pretty good job seeding this year. I don't think it was very hard. The only thing I was surprised with was I thought Arkansas might be a little 1 seed higher. I thought St. John's might be a seed higher. I kind of think that they don't really think the Big East is a very good conference. They're probably right if you look at their out-of-conference. St. John's didn't beat anybody out-of-conference. I think that's what cost them. But other than that, I think they did a pretty good job. I think they got it right on the bottom end. The bubble was really weak, as evidenced by Mizzou not really having to sweat. So I think they did a really good job this year. I think what you're seeing in college basketball, and you guys probably tested this, is there's a real separation taking place. If you look at the top 6-8 teams, they're just a lot better. And then if you're a mid-major now, you're basically the equivalent of double-A. That separation is becoming. Last year we didn't really have any upsets in the first 2 days. I think this year there might be a better chance because I would say once you get to a lot of the teams that are seeded 3, 4, 5, they do have some weaknesses this year, and you may see that pop through. But the days of seeing mid-majors with a lot of older players go against young, power conference players, those are over because a lot of power conference teams are old too.
Arthur, well, Shawn, don't you think? I'm sorry, Art. Shawn, don't you though think that equates to money? The amount of money
it's all
being
based
spent?
on it's all based on their NIL budgets. I mean, they range from Kentucky's supposed $20 million budget to whatever whoever's playing in a 16 game from the SWAC probably has a NIL budget of $50,000. So,
and that's one player.
Yeah,
Arthur.
Well, and that all has to do with football money that makes them available to NIL for basketball. But so, Shawn, I want to ask you about what first-round upsets you might see. People always looking for that first-round upset.
Well, I think that it's not really an upset because is St. Mary's favored over A&M?
I think they are.
They are. That's not really an upset. It looks like it on to people if they hear it. I want to kind of watch Texas NC State tonight. BYU's played horrific down the stretch since they lost their second-best player. I know they have Devonta, but they haven't played very well. They're probably ripe for a first-round upset. And then I would go it's an 8-9 game. It's not really an upset. I would take Utah State over my alma mater.
Oh, come on now.
Because I'll tell you right now, we lost our power forward 3 games ago, and our interior defense is pathetic. So if you just drive the ball on us, you're going to get fouled or you're going to make a layup. So, and Georgetown, if you watched the Georgetown game last week, Georgetown smoked us, and it was strictly because they knew how to play against us. But I think it's tough to find it. I think Nebraska will have an inordinate amount of pressure on them to win a game because they've never won one. And then I kind of like VCU over North Carolina due to the injuries.
Well, you brought up alma maters, and I'll speak for Mr. Haynes on this one. His alma mater's in the play-in round.
That's true.
Where do you see them?
I know they score a lot, Art, but do they give up a lot of points at the same time?
They do.
Yeah. I mean, it is helpful in your first-round game to score a lot, and they probably have a pretty fair matchup with Miami of Ohio, who I'm guessing it'll be a home game for them based on
Dayton, yeah.
based on the area. But I mean, Miami of Ohio played absolutely nobody. Probably not it's not their fault. That's a two-way street. Nobody's going to schedule them either. Knowing that, and I know that they spent money this year. Their budget is a little bit higher, I think, than the average mid-major. It's more like $3 million. So they're an older team. They're a good team. They're probably, hearing that they don't belong from Bruce Pearl for 2 weeks has probably got them to where they're going to come out. I would expect them to come out and try to punch you guys in the face.
Well, SMU has been without one of its top players for the last 6 games, during which they've gone 1-5. But he'll be back, and he'll make a big difference, I think, for them. And they've played a good schedule. They beat North Carolina, beat Louisville, beat Texas A&M when they were healthy. So
yeah.
I think they can get this one. Then they run into Tennessee.
Yeah, and Tennessee's hard. They're going to shut you down on defense, so it's a tough matchup. The other, I guess Mizzou is an upset too, but I think Mizzou couldn't ask for a better matchup.
And they're playing Miami as well.
Yeah, they play Miami of Florida, who, if you go back and look at their schedule, had the amazing luck of being in the same conference with Duke and not playing them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
all season. And if you look at their wins, I don't think they're as impressive as Mizzou's wins, to be honest with you. So I think Mizzou kind of got a good break there. My brother,
and it's in St. Louis.
It's in St. Louis, which is another huge break. Even though St. Louis will be overrun by Kentucky fans, and Iowa State will be there. But my brother's complained about it because he watches too much ESPN, and he's like, all they talk about is Miami. And he goes, you have to remember, their coach was an assistant at Duke. I go, so everything runs through Duke at that network. So if you just take that with a grain of salt, you'll understand that if you actually look at them, their record is really impressive, but they really didn't play that many good teams or beat that many good teams either.
When you take a look at all of the teams that are in there, and this area has a pretty good representation. Arkansas, Missouri, SLU is in there as well, KU. When you look at them, who, in your opinion, has the easiest of the first-round matchups?
Well, I mean, KU should be able to win there. Same with Arkansas, just based on their seeding. I actually think SLU got a pretty good matchup. Georgia's, I'd say they're hit or miss, depending on what they want to do. SLU has not played that well the last couple weeks, losing some games. But some of that comes from just you come around to the team twice. They know how to play you that second time. Getting out of conference may help them.
Dwight brought up a very interesting point about the money. Now, did I hear you correctly? You think Kentucky has
the rumor is it's $20 million. That's why.
Where did it go? Because those guys.
Well, that's what I mean.
Good.
They're paying a lot for they kept a lot of players that went to the Sweet 16 last year, and we found this in football too. Sometimes it doesn't pay to keep your players. You can improve by getting the next guy. So I don't know where it went. I know Mark Pope's he's under a lot of heat. But listen, when you're at the Kentucky job, if you're not in the top 10, or I should say top 5, if you don't win the SEC, and if you don't win it by 40 points every game, they're miserable. And the fact is that just doesn't exist anymore. The SEC, because of football money, now has a lot of really good coaches in it. So that helps them become I don't think they're nearly as good as they were last year, and they still got 10 teams in.
It does.
How about Santa Clara over Kentucky in the first round?
I have not seen Santa Clara play, Art, so I don't know. It would not surprise me. I will say, though, Kentucky will have. I mean, it's the games at the Dome. They're going to have 25,000 people at that game.
That's full house at the Enterprise Center.
Yeah, they're going to. If you've ever been to one of these events with Kentucky in town, they bring everybody.
Oh, yeah. I do have a question for you, Shawn. Did you see where Alabama's second best player is now incarcerated, no longer on the campus and no longer on the team? And how do you think that might allow Texas Tech an easier path?
That probably does help Texas Tech. Texas Tech's problem is they lost a lottery pick.
Yeah, they did.
Yep.
But Alabama, a couple years ago, played Brandon Miller, and he should not have played. And I think that karma is going to stay with that guy the rest of his coaching career. I think Alabama is probably the dirtiest program, or at least the most morally inept of all college basketball programs right now, because everybody could cheat. But Alabama seems to set a standard where they're trying to get NBA players eligible,
which
they did. They played an illegal player. Oates is basically, if you've ever seen the old movie Used Cars, he dresses like Jack Warden in that movie, and he kind of acts like him too. So I did see that today. It's only a pound of weed. I mean, but I think that is not going to help them. It probably will help Texas Tech, though.
Well, somebody had to be the bad guy after Bruce Pearl retired, so he just stepped right into that role.
Exactly. And he's kind of always been, which is funny because if you ever hear Oates' story, you never thought he would assume that role.
He came to Alabama from some
he was Buffalo.
Buffalo.
He's basically was Bobby Hurley's bench coach. He was a high school coach. Hurley hired him. I'm starting to think he did all the coaching for Bobby Hurley because Bobby Hurley's not been the same since Oates left him. And he's a good. I'm not denying he's a good coach, but he makes some questionable decisions in regards to his players.
The one about the felony case, that's hardly new. There are other circumstances.
Yeah. So
Arthur, how do you feel about it?
Well, we'll see about Holloway. Reminds me of the old Southwest Conference credo: bail them out on Friday and play them on Saturday.
What was the old one they used to have at Oklahoma? Hey, did you hear that the Oklahoma football players? Now, this is not my feelings, but this was the story. They're on the honor system down there. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Go ahead, Shawn.
No, I was going to say, I think it probably helps Michigan. The interesting to me is a lot of the big-name schools that are number one seeds. Duke has an injury, guy coming back. Michigan's got some injured players. Florida's good. They're not as good as they were last year. Their guard play is not nearly as good as it was last year.
They're still very tall.
They're very tall, and their big guys are very, very, very good. I like Arizona to win it. I think they have probably the easiest path. Arkansas will probably be the best team they play, in my opinion, if they gets that far. Acuff is the kind of player that could carry you pretty far, but I mean, Mizzou had a chance to win both those games, in my opinion, and just didn't have the talent to do it. So when Arkansas runs into teams that are equally talented.
You mentioned the point that it's 8 or 10 teams who have a legitimate chance, in your opinion. Who above them, who is a legitimate dark horse? I
mean, I guess they'd be a dark horse at 3. I think Illinois scores enough to maybe win a national title. They're old. I mean, everybody on their team's like 30. Because they're all from are they from all ex-Yugoslavs, aren't they?
It's Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, they're all Eastern Bloc kids, and they score a lot. Their problem is they blow a lot of leads if you look at their losses. But if they got hot for 6 games, I don't like UConn. UConn, I know, won 17 games this year, but if you really look at it, the Big East is bad. I'm just saying, Villanova, we didn't beat anybody this year. Our big win was Wisconsin, and our team is assembled out of nowhere. And if you just look, we got rolled by St. John's. I think St. John's actually is interesting. Ejiofor is a really good player. He's got something to play for, meaning if he has a really good tournament carrying them, he's going to get paid for that in the NBA with a higher draft pick.
I see a lot of people picking Michigan State just because of Izzo's record, in Final Fours and in March. Is that legitimate?
It was 10 years ago, but I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff we look at. I mean, I was shocked that Arizona hadn't made a Sweet 16 in a decade. You just forget these things. And Izzo, he's great. It's fine. Yeah, I get it. He wins, but his team, he doesn't have the talent. I mean, he's got a good team, but at the end of the day, he's still got to play through UConn. He's got 2 NBA seniors, and then he's going to have to go through Duke. And I mean, Duke's really good.
Arthur, do you have a dark horse?
Well, not really. I'm going to say I agree, Shawn. Arizona is my pick to win the whole thing. Houston, they're young, but boy, I love seeing them play. Mm-hmm. I think they could get all the way to the finals.
Well, my pick is Florida. I love the way they play. They have a very good scheme about. Coach Golden's done a great job with that team. Yes, they may not have the quickness that some of the other teams have, but they do have the size. And you saw what they did to Arkansas down there in Gainesville.
Well, their big guys play outside too and shoot threes, and both those guys are going to be first-round draft picks in the NBA. They're going to be good NBA players. And I'm with you. Their scheme is tough, but I just don't feel like they're as good this year. And I do actually think, Vanderbilt worked them which if you're Vanderbilt, the worst thing you want to be is back in Florida's bracket after working them in a game. But Vanderbilt showed that they kind of match up with them, so we'll see.
Okay, on the first four starts tonight.
Yeah.
Give us your assessment.
Well, I have no idea on the 16 seeds. I'll be the first to tell you. I'm curious about Texas tonight. If you watch Texas at Mizzou, they smoked Mizzou. It's probably the best game I think it was the best game they played all year.
That was the one down in Austin.
No, it was at Columbia.
In Columbia.
It was at Columbia, and they killed us. They won by about almost 20. That Swain kid is a really tough matchup if he's rolling. That's why I think they have a chance if they play BYU, because he'll be defending DeMonta, and he's just as athletic. NC State and Texas both come in kind of losing a lot of games. We'll see. I'm curious because it'll tell me if the ACC is actually any good. This year, last year they weren't, and this year they got a lot more teams in. But I kind of think Texas. And then the other one, as much as I hate to say it, I mean, Miami of Ohio's got everything to play for, but if Art's telling me that SMU's whole, I think SMU's probably going to win that game.
And that's tomorrow night.
That's tomorrow night.
What are the other games? What's the one tonight?
16s. I got UMBC and Howard is tonight. I
don't know too much about it. It's Maryland.
I would expect Baltimore County to win that game.
They're the ones. They're the only team in history ever to beat a number one seed.
Well, no, it's happened twice.
Yeah, it has.
And then
first one,
Prairie View, Lehigh. I'd probably take Lehigh.
I would take Lehigh too. Lehigh, folks, nobody's from around here is familiar with them. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and a very, very fine engineering school. And also a very fine wrestling program.
Yeah.
The wrestling program is among the tops in the country. But basketball, hey, the engineers are there to play, and that's what they'll show up at Dayton. Arthur, what are your thoughts on the first four games coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Don't do too much about the 16 seeds. I like Texas and SMU, like Shawn.
There we go, right there. We'll take a quick timeout on the starting lineup. Be right back.
You're listening to the starting lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One.